Hi again. This vlog is about the circulatory system of the frog, especially the venous system. Okay, so the circulatory system is actually made up of two sister systems that circulate materials all throughout the body. So we have the cardiovascular system and the lymphatic system. But in the frog, we have here the cardiovascular system. So the cardiovascular system is made up of the heart. Okay, and then of course you have the blood vessels. You have here you have the veins. Okay, and then you have the arteries. Okay, and then of course you have the blood. So the focus of this vlog is for you to be able to familiarize yourself with the blood vessels especially with the veins of the frog. So the venous system is divided into three divisions. Okay, you have the systemic. Now you have the systemic veins. The systemic veins, okay, include the branches of the anterior vena cava or the precava, and then you have the branches of the post cava. Okay, and then you have the second division is the pulmonary circulation. So it includes the pulmonary veins. Okay, and the third, you have the portal circulation. So it includes the renal portal vein, okay, and the hepatic portal vein. Okay, so let's try to take first the branches of the precava. Okay, so we have here again the anterior vena cava, okay, or the precava. So each precava gives rise to three branches. So you have one, you have two, you have three. For a while. Okay, so you have here the first branch of the precava. Okay, so that is the external jugular vein. Second is the middle innominate vein. And the third is the subclavian vein. So from each branch, again, arise two veins each, no? So from the external jugular vein, okay, so you have here the lingual vein, which collects the oxygenated blood from the tongue, the hyoid, and the floor of the mouth. And then you have here the maxillary or the mandibular, which collects the oxygenated blood from the mandible. Okay, and then from the second branch, which is the middle innominate vein. Okay, so you have here the internal jugular vein, which collects the oxygenated blood from the brain, the spinal cord, the eyes, and other parts of the head. And then you have here the subscapular vein, which collects blood from the posterior part of or dorsal part of the arm and also the shoulder. Okay, and then the third branch is the subclavian vein, okay, which now branches to form the brachial, okay, collecting blood from the arm. And then we have the musculocutaneous, okay, collecting blood from the muscles, especially of the dorsal wall, and of course the skin. So those are the branches of the precava. Okay, what about the branches of the postcava? So you have here the hepatic veins collecting blood from the liver, and then tracing. So the postcava or the posterior vena cava is a very large vein. Okay, so it gives up branches going to the kidneys. Okay, so you have here the renal veins, and then it gives up a branch going to the reproductive organ. So you have here the genital vein, and then a branch can also go to the corpora adiposa. So that's the adiposal vein. So the genital vein is generic. So in this particular example, the specimen is a male, so the genital vein is called the spermatic vein. But if it collects blood from the ovary, it's called the ovarian vein. Okay, so those are the branches of the Okay, so another branch. Okay, so we have here those are the branches of the post cava. No? Then we have the portal circulation. Again, it involves the hepatic portal vein and the renal portal vein. So when we say portal circulation, it means that before blood goes back to the heart, it has to pass through two capillary beds. So the capillary bed of the organ being drained, and when we say renal portal, so blood has to pass through the kidney. And when we say hepatic portal, it has to pass through the liver, okay, before going back to the heart. Because remember, the kidneys are the major excretory organs. So the kidneys, they filter blood, okay, before going back to the heart. Also, the liver, diba? They detoxify blood. They also balance the composition of blood, especially coming from the gut, okay, before going back to the heart. So that's the importance of the portal circulation, okay. So we have here the renal portal vein. So tracing below, okay, so you have here the femoral vein. It collects blood from the anterior and dorsal part of the thigh. And then we have here the sciatic vein, collecting blood from the posterior part of the thigh and the rest of the leg. Okay, and then arising from the renal portal, you also have the dorsal-lumbar vein. Okay, collecting blood from the back, no? From the back lumbar area of the frog. So if you're going to trace the pathway of deoxygenated blood, say for example from the leg, so you have here the sciatic vein. Okay, so in terms of, again, the portal circulation, so blood has to pass through two capillary beds before going back to the heart. In this particular case, okay, you have the capillary bed of the leg itself. Okay, and then, okay, from the leg, so blood will be collected by the sciatic vein. Okay, going to the renal portal vein. Okay, and then from the renal portal vein, blood now enters the kidney. Okay, kidney for filtration. Okay, so that's the second capillary bed. And then after filtration, after cleansing, so blood now exits the renal veins. And then from the renal veins, you have the post cava and then heart. Okay, so it means the blood before going back to the heart has to be cleansed. Okay, so again, tracing the branch coming from the femoral, you have here the anterior abdominal vein, pelvic vein, and then the pelvic vein collects blood from the urinary bladder, no, from the cloaca, and then you have here the, especially from the urinary bladder, no? And then they would now fuse, forming the anterior abdominal vein, okay, which now empties into the hepatic portal vein. Okay, so from the hepatic portal vein, blood now is filtered by the cleansed, balanced, no, by the liver. So that's the second capillary bed. And then after that, blood goes to the, or exits via the hepatic veins, then post cava, then heart. Okay? So another very important vein that drains blood from the gut is the mesenteric vein. Okay? So the mesenteric vein actually has branches or tributaries. You have the gastric, the pancreatic, the splenic, and the intestinal. Okay, so gastric collects blood from the stomach. Of course, pancreatic from the pancreas. Okay, splenic from the spleen, and intestinal, okay, from the intestine. So that's the importance of the hepatic portal vein. No? So, okay, we say that the blood, newly absorbed blood, which is very rich in nutrients, or it may contain toxins or other harmful chemicals. So, blood will be screened by the liver, okay, will be cleansed, no, detoxified, balanced, okay, before going back to the heart. Okay, so from let's say for example, if you're going to trace the flow of blood from the stomach going back to the pancreas, so from the gastric vein, now, which leads to the mesenteric vein. The mesenteric vein, okay, opens into the hepatic portal vein. And then from the hepatic portal, blood now enters the liver and then exits the liver via the hepatic veins and then post cava and then heart. Okay? Now going back from the femoral vein, okay, this blood here actually can pass or can go back to the heart via two routes. Okay, so it could either be via the abdominal, by the renal portal vein, or in this case, you have the pelvic. No? So from the femoral, blood goes to the pelvic, to the anterior abdominal vein, which directly opens. So I would like to correct this. No? So the anterior abdominal vein directly opens into the hepatic portal. And then again liver, and then hepatic veins, and then post cava, and then heart. Okay? So the more challenging part is, of course, locating the particular blood vessels utilizing the actual specimen. Can you zoom it? Okay. Okay, so in studying the blood vessels, okay, so you have to trace from the heart. Okay, so you have to sever the pericardium. Okay, for you to be able to see or appreciate the blood vessels. Okay. So you have to be very careful in removing the pericardium so as not to sever blood vessels, especially the veins, because they are very, very delicate. Okay, so we have here familiarizing ourselves with the parts of the heart. So you have here the ventricle, okay, and then you have the auricles. Okay, you have here the right auricle, okay, the left auricle, and then if you're going to lift the heart, okay, there you can see the precava, this one. Okay, that's the precava. It's the right precava. Okay, and then you have here the left precava. Okay, so let's try to see the branches of the precava. Okay, so again, the specimen I got is so small, so we would expect to see also very small blood vessels, but luckily, okay, they're intact naman, ano? So from the precava, okay, so you have here the first branch, okay, and then you have there the second branch, and then ito you have the third branch. So if ever I would find a larger specimen in the future, so I'll be repeating this block, no? Okay, so the first branch is one. This is the external jugular vein. Okay, and then you can trace branches. So this is the lingual vein. Okay, going towards the midline, so that's the lingual vein. Again, collecting blood from the tongue, okay, the hyoid and the floor of the mouth. And I think this is the maxillary. So it's clearly seen here. No? So this is the maxillary vein going lateral or laterad. So this now collects blood from the jaw. Okay, and then again from the anterior vena cava or precava, okay, you have there the second branch. So this is the innominate vein. Okay, and then try to trace. So it has a branch, no, that now enters the shoulder. So this one. So this is the subscapular vein, again, draining blood from the dorsal part of the arm and also the shoulder. And then you would see one, no, the other branch, okay, that would insert itself to the eustachian tube. So this is the internal jugular vein, collecting blood from the brain, the eye, the spinal cord, and other parts of the head. And then this one, this is the subclavian. Okay, so the subclavian vein, okay, gives rise to, you have here the brachial, which collects blood from the arm. So this is the extension of the brachial vein. And then this one, here, okay, which extends until here. So this is the musculocutaneous vein. Okay, so that would be the branches of the precava. What about the branches of the postcava? So to appreciate the postcava, you have to lift the heart again. Okay, and then you can see here very big, okay, blood vessel. So this is actually the largest vein in the frog's body. So again, you have to sever the pericardium. Okay, so you have here the postcava, okay, which now gives up branches going to the liver. So to appreciate that, you can actually stretch, okay, the liver. Okay, so you have here the hepatic veins here, here, and here. Okay, and then remember when we studied the internal organs, so we said we have to preserve the anterior abdominal vein. This is it. Okay, and then the anterior abdominal vein, okay, opens into the hepatic portal. It's very thin here in this particular specimen. Okay, but you have here the hepatic portal vein. Okay. Okay, and then going down, okay, so you have here the pelvic, okay, here. So it drains blood coming from the, okay, urinary bladder. It's very evident. Okay, and then, okay, tracing further the postcava. Okay, you have to sever the peritoneum. Okay. Okay, so you still have there the, okay, the very large postcava. So you can trace that. Okay, so it now pierces the here, no? Okay. So there's the postcava. Okay, tracing from underneath the liver. Okay. Okay, so there. Okay. So you have here the kidney. Okay, so here, okay, you can see that it would now give off a branch going to the fat body. Okay, so you have there the adiposal veins. Okay, and then from the ovary, it's not very clear here, no? But the black ones, you have the ovarian veins. And if we're going to remove, let's remove one of the ovaries so we can see the renal veins. Yan. Okay. Okay, so you have here the kidney. Okay, and then you can see there the renal veins here. Okay, so it's not really that evident because of the ovary. Okay, but here now, so you have then the renal veins. Okay, and then tracing further down. Okay, so we said that we have here the renal portal vein. I think I already removed the dorsolumbar, but you can see that here, no? So again, I'll be removing the urinary bladder. Okay, and then you can see that the renal portal vein would fork. Okay, so the inner one, okay, the inner one, this is the femoral vein, and this is the sciatic vein. Because if you're going to trace, if you're going to cut, okay. Okay. So again, tracing, no? You have here the renal portal vein, and then this one, that's the sciatic vein, and then it goes all the way down here to the leg. Okay, making this one, the one going inside the other branch, this one, this is the femoral, no? Femoral vein, and then you have the sciatic. Okay? So, and then, okay, so we have, again, a tracing, blood coming from the gut. So, here, this part, okay, you can actually see here the mesenteric vein, no? But it's covered by the pancreas. Okay? But if you're going to trace the branches of the mesenteric vein, okay, so here you see the gastric, okay, those collecting blood from the stomach. And then we have okay, here, so this is the pancreas. Okay, so you have there the pancreatic vein. And then, okay, splenic here. But it's very faint since the specimen is so small. Okay, and then we have there the okay, you have here the intestinal. Okay, collecting blood from the intestines. So all of them will merge. Okay, forming the, again here, no, I can clean this. You have the mesenteric, and then from the mesenteric, okay, that now enters the hepatic portal, and then going to the liver, okay, exits via the hepatic veins, and then post-cava, and then heart. Okay? So, thank you very much. In the next video, we are going to discuss the arterial system.